Recent allegations of SA has came into the light regarding to a prominent ESPN analyst and former NFL star, along with his decision to temporarily step away from his broadcasting duties, offering several important lessons regarding media accountability, corporate responsibility, and the complexities of public scrutiny. Who are we talking about? We are talking about Shannon, Drop and Give Me 50, Sharpe. Let's get into it. Okay, so today we are talking about Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe has been in the news for at least for the past 2 weeks regarding to SA allegations against him. There has been one of his counterparts filing a lawsuit recently, and then also there is a second one that has stepped forward after silently filing a lawsuit on him at least about a couple years back. I'll say, well, for the most part, back in 2010. So lessons that we could learn from this situation regarding to Shannon Sharpe, again, as discussed, media accountability, corporate responsibility, the complexities of public scrutiny, and so much more. To be specific, I'm gonna go through about 5 lessons that we can learn from this situation. One of them is due process versus public perception. 2, corporate responsibility and consistency. 3, patterns of behavior and accountability. 4, the role of media and public figures. And 5, privacy, consent, and digital media. Okay, so let's go ahead and step right into the game. First, we're going to go to this first article that I came across. Of course, there's several articles that are mentioned, but I'm going to read off the one from Yahoo News on what Shannon Sharpe is accused of and why the former Super Bowl champion of ESPN has stepped away from his ESPN duties. So let me minimize this, and I'm going to share my screen, okay, from Yahoo News, and then I'm gonna bring about a second one regarding to the other accuser, and then I will happily give you my thoughts on this. All right. So popular sports anchor, podcaster, and former Super Bowl champion Shannon Sharpe is taking a leave from his main job at ESPN amid SA allegations made by former girlfriend. Here's what Shannon Sharpe said about the allegation against him. First things first, why is Shannon Sharpe off ESPN? Shannon Sharpe confirmed his ESPN leave of absence through a post on social media platform X. In his statement, located right here, Sharpe said the leave was only temporarily. My statement, and it states, quote, saying, "My statement is found here and this is the truth. The relationship in question was 100% consensual. At this juncture, I am electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties," read Sharpe's post on X. "I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I sincerely apologize for the overwhelming and ongoing support I have received from my family, fans, friends, and colleagues." Sharpe shared his statement that he explains that he plans on returning to ESPN in time for the NFL's first preseason game on July 31st. So what is Shannon Sharpe accused of specifically? He is facing a $50 million civil lawsuit claiming SA and battery. The woman who used the alias Jane Doe in a lawsuit filed on Sunday, April 20th in Clark County, Nevada, alleged that Sharpe engaged in intentional infliction and emotional distress and that he essayed her twice. Once in October 2024 and again in January 2025. The woman says Sharpe became violent over the course of the relationship, threatening to delete her during one incident and recorded their relation without her consent. Sharpe flew into fits of anger when plaintiff noted his infidelity to their relationship or called him out about his extraneous activities, the lawsuit said. What had once been manipulation, control, intimidation now became something far more dangerous and sinister. Sharpe even figured out how to get into Doe's apartment complex without her permission. Now that is a big red flag. You are going to basically trespass in somebody's apartment without their consent. You just gonna barge up in their apartment like you are King Kong or something like that. Okay, now let's go over to the next article where the other accuser, I think the first accuser's name for Shannon Sharpe was Gabby, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look. Yeah, Gabriella Zuniga. Okay, Gabrielle Zuniga is the first one. That was the one who filed the lawsuit on the 21st. Okay, and then this next article is dealing with Michelle Evans, the former ex-girlfriend, if she's still not the the current one already. And she has came out after years of intimidation, being silent, and all those things are the things. So Michelle, as the article reads, Michelle Evans accused Shannon Sharpe of grape and retaliation. He forced me to my knees. My goodness. Okay, so key takeaways from this article. A second woman accuses of former NFL star Shannon Sharpe of SA, sparking widespread concern about his behavior behind the scenes. Michelle Evans details horrifying 2010 assault by Sharpe, alleging non-consensual oral and other adult relation activity, followed by threats of ruining her life. Evans files lawsuit against Sharpe in 2023, accusing him of defamation, libel, and slander. In addition to the original essay under New York City's Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. Okay, so we're going to read this article as well to give you more context, of course, if you haven't already, but I'm just going to lay it out on there and then, of course, provide my thoughts. So, former NFL superstar, sports media personality Shannon Sharpe, at the center of a growing firestorm as a second woman comes forward with explosive allegations of SA. Just days after broke of lawsuit filed by OnlyFans model Gabriella Zuniga, who claims Sharpe assaulted her multiple times during their 2-year relationship. The New York Post and other outlets have confirmed a separate lawsuit quietly filed in 2023 by another former girlfriend, Michelle Evans. Evans, who said she was in a decade-long relationship with Sharpe. A decade-long, has accused him of horrifying assault that alleged took place in 2010. According to the court documents and interviews, Evans claims Sharpe became violent after an argument about his infidelity and proceeded to assault her in a terrifying and degrading manner, actually. Shocking details combined with allegations of threats, intimidation, and defamation have sparked widespread about the concern of Sharpe's behavior behind the scenes. A night of horror. Michelle Evans details the 2010 assault. According to Evans, the violent incident occurred in 2010 after a confrontation about Sharpe's unfaithfulness. She says the argument quickly escalated into something much darker and more traumatic. In her lawsuit, Evans describes how Sharpe allegedly forced her into her knees and committed a non-consensual oral sexual relations. Okay. The nightmare did not end there. Evans says Sharpe then maneuvered her into bed and proceeded to have non-consensual other adult relations while delivering a chilling message stating, quote, "He told me he was going to make it so no other man will want me," end quote. Evans encountered in her statement. These allegations depict an alarming pattern of power, control, and humiliation, a campaign of fear and silence. Evans said that after the incident, she wanted to go public with what had happened to her, but when she made it clear to Sharpe that she intended to speak out, he allegedly launched a terrifying campaign to silence her. "He threatened to destroy my life," Evans said. "He told me that he would use everyone he knew to ruin me." This fear was not just emotional. According to Evans, someone showed up at her home and made direct threats to her safety. Had a basement apartment with a door that led straight to the sidewalk. One night, someone came right up to my door and said, "Shut up, effing B," she revealed in an interview with the U.S. Sun. "I dropped the restraining order right then because I had a child in that home. There was no way I could risk it." Evans had filed a restraining order against Sharpe in 2010, but she withdrew it shortly after due to what she described as an intense fear for her life and safety for her family. In 2023, lawsuit, defamation, libel, and slander. In 2023, Evans filed a suit against Sharpe. This time, the charges were not about the original essay. She accused him of defamation, libel, and slander, claiming that Sharpe continuously spoke negatively about her in private circles and long after their relationship ended. According to the lawsuit, Sharpe used his influence and media platforms to discredit Evans and paint her as a mental unstable. She says these defamatory statements further damaged her reputation and deepened the trauma she experienced. Evans filed the lawsuit under New York Victims Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act, a legal statute designed to support survivors gender-based violence seeking justice in civil court. Sharpe's response to the mounting pressure has strongly denied all allegations against him. His legal team has issued statements describing the claims as fabrications intended to extort money and tarnish his name. In response to the public backlash and legal scrutiny, Sharpe announced that he would be stepping away from his duties at ESPN to focus on the lawsuits. Sources close to the network say his decision was mutual as the controversy began to overshadow the broadcaster's program. His representatives have also attempted to push back by releasing private communications between Sharpe and his accusers to portray the relationships as consensual. However, critics argue that this does not address the core allegations of coercion and violence and abuse. Public outcry and shifting the narrative with the latest revelations we have sent shockwaves through both support world and the broadcaster media community. Shannon Sharpe, once revered Hall of Fame athlete and rising star in sports commentary, is now under intense scrutiny. Social media has exploded with reactions ranging from disbelief to disgust, and with demanding accountability and justice for women involved. The allegations, if proven, represent more than just personal misconduct. They point to a dangerous pattern of abuse, manipulation, and silence that is sadly all too common along influential public figures. What's next? As for both lawsuits move through the legal system, the pressure on Shannon Sharpe is intensifying. His reputation, career, and legacy now hang in the balance. The coming months will likely reveal more details, and the public will be watching closely to see if justice is served. But now the message from Evans is clear. After years of fear, pain, and silence, she is no longer willing to remain quiet. The world is finally listening. All right, so there's a lot of things. Of course, Stephen A. Smith has brought his take on the matter, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to give you all my thoughts. First things first, we can't save you, okay? We cannot save you on this matter. I know there is a campaign when ish hits the fan, there is always someone that is, more likely a Black woman, going to come and save you and revive your reputation, similar to like Jonathan Major's situation. But no, no, but this is too much. This is too much. The fact that you have done this, first off, the first accuser, Gabrielle, yes, she is an OnlyFans model. But the fact that, from what I have more so observing from the clouds, okay, is that she is underage. You are dang near close to 60 years old, sir, and you encountered this interaction with her when she was in her late teens. First things first, we all as a collective, we gonna have to, even government wise, we gonna have to establish the real legal age, okay, to be considered as an adult. Because 18, you're not an adult, okay? You're just fresh out of high school and you're in college, and the fact that you're basically on your own per se when you're out of high school and college and you're doing adult like things, you're preparing yourself for the adult like world, you still, the brain, the frontal lobe is still not developed yet, okay? It's almost at its last leg of developing when you're in that 18 to 21 age time frame. And gosh, my goodness. And far as 21 being the age of legally drinking, like, again, your frontal lobe is still formulating during that time period. Of course, across the pond in other countries, you're able to drink when you're like, starting at the age of 13 at the youngest per se, but for the most part 15 and 16, you know what I'm saying, because 13 is like the teen mark of the teenage years, okay? But at the same time, in my book, the age of adulthood would actually be the age of 26, because again, that's when your frontal lobe has been developed, and on top of that, that's when you get kicked off of your parents' insurance, okay? That's when you get kicked out, unless you make more than your parents, or you end up pregnant and you're still within the below the 26 age range, you'll more likely get kicked out of your parents' health insurance then. But still, I'm gonna need Black men. Y'all have got to develop, not all, but the ones who get real weak into temptation. And it don't even have to be with women. It could be with anything. And I'll say this as a collective, we really going to have to gain some sense of discipline regarding to with ourselves and interacting with other people. Because with you Shannon Sharpe interacting with Gabrielle, whether it's her first interaction up to now, still unacceptable. I have seen people make comparisons regarding to Tracy Ellis Ross dating younger men as well. I mean, she didn't give a definite age range, but still, if it falls within 10 plus, plus over 10 years, that is a no-no. Okay, just stick to the 10-year time frame at least, because if you're tapping into the age range beyond the 10 years, beyond the decade, then y'all not gonna have no similarities as the same as you would if you were encountering somebody or dealing with somebody within the 10-year age range. That's just my take on it. At the same time, Shannon Sharpe, I'm like that little clip off. I forgot what movie it was, but when the dude was in the interrogation room saying, you done effed up, right? Big time. And also with Whoopi Goldberg saying, girl, you in danger. Okay, you are in danger. But to say the least, far as the lessons that we can learn in this matter, first, with due process and public perception, yes, he is perceived as innocent until proven guilty by the court of law. That's by far that. With due process and public perception, you have Sharpe facing 50 million lawsuit by the woman alleging multiple instances of rape and coercion during 2-year relationship. He has denied those allegations, asserting that relationship was consensual and characterized the lawsuit as a shakedown. Despite the absence of criminal charges, the severity of the claims has led to significant public attention and professional consequences. The underscores are how public figures can face reputation damage and career impacts based on allegations alone, highlight the tension between legal principle of the presumption of innocence and the court of public opinion. Again, in the public opinion's eyes, he is guilty. All right, he is guilty in our eyes, or majority of our eyes. But far as legal issues, he is innocent until proven guilty on that matter. Secondly, on things that we can learn from his situation is corporate response and consistency. ESPN's handling a Sharpe situation, supporting his temporary departure while investigating the matters, raises questions about consistency and corporate response to employee misconduct. Critics have pointed out the disparities on how ESPN has dealt with past incidents involving other analysts, such as Skip Bayless, for one of them, and a couple other analysts, commentators, is suggesting the need for clarity and consistent policies that prioritize ethical standards and workplace safety. As far as what I have to say about that regarding to corporate response and consistency, if you start being lenient on one incident, you have to when someone else gets in trouble on down the line, they're gonna look to that issue, they're gonna look to that previous issue to see whether you're going to follow through on being lenient or being stern and being by the book. And that could be a very big gamble, especially when someone is considered a favorite, a fan favorite amongst the collective. So again, if you're gonna be by the book and throw the book on the individual that is involved with employee misconduct, the same needs to follow for the other people, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's just, you don't want to be on the gray line and do more on one than the other, playing favoritism. It shouldn't work like that these days. Okay, that's just my take on that. Thirdly, patterns of behavior and accountability. This is not the first time Shannon Sharpe has faced allegations, as stated before, back in 2010 when Michelle Evans accused him of SA and obtained temporary restraining order, which was later dismissed. The recurrence of similar allegations over time may prompt organizations and public to consider patterns of behavior when assessing credibility and determining appropriate responses. So, with that, with my take on patterns and behavior and accountability, this is not his first rodeo. This is, according to our eyes, probably his second and third. But how many more times does he needs to be under fire before? How many times is he gonna hit his head on the wall? Okay, will he be able to learn his lesson from this situation specifically? Because yes, you are about to sign this big mega deal on the line, but at the same time, your past is catching up to you, bro. It's only so much that you can do when you have wronged others. Okay, so with that being said, when the patterns start repeating and you haven't learned your lesson, it's going to keep repeating until you learn your lesson. So Shannon, I hope you have learned your lesson thus far, whether it's true or not in your eyes. But according to the public's eyes, is leaning more to true than being false. Okay, regardless of the age and the gender and the race of the individual. Again, this is completely unacceptable, and you need to be held accountable, because otherwise, the cycle is just going to keep going and going until you basically lose it all. Okay, you may lose it all. You may lose some of your how should I say it? Some of your legacy may be tarnished now to some degree because of what has transpired or what has came into light, but at the same time, at what cost? Okay, yes, you have offered Gabrielle 10 million before she was like, nah, I want 50 million. Just yes, that she, of course, she's more like, no, if you trying to throw me chump change, and I'm going all in on this one. So yeah, you may consider this as a shakedown, but this shakedown is definitely a divine intervention for you to get yourself together and get some act right and learn how to treat people, especially women. It don't matter what age or race they are, but again, it's time to treat women the way they're supposed to be treated and not treat them as if they are property of yours. Okay, not only property, but how should I say this? I don't even know how to describe it, but y'all get my drift on that. Fourth thing that we can learn from this situation is the role of social media and public figures. Yes, Sharpe's own commentary on similar issues, such as his criticism of the NFL quarterback Deshaun Watson amid the actual misconduct allegations, adds complexity to his current situation. His highlights of importance of self-awareness and consistency for public figures, as their past statements can influence public perception during personal controversy. So, yes, you are a public figure, and yes, you are held to a higher regard to some degree. But your critiques over the NFL on how they handled Deshaun Watson is gaining some traction of how ESPN is going about the situation with you and your job as well. So all I can say on that end is tread lightly on that one, and you don't know, your time is gonna come up. Don't throw in other words, don't throw stones and glass houses, okay? And then hide your hands on that matter. How should I word that one as well? Because this is a lot. Obviously, this is a lot coming from him. The way he is very well decorated in his career within football, and then he's adding on to his accolades and accomplishments with sports commentary and podcasting. Is really it's becoming is it's really disgusts me at this point. You know, as a lot of I was rooting for you from the background, but now I'm just really turned off about this, and you just gonna have to face the music on that one. And then lastly, with number 5, with privacy, consent, and digital media, with the lawsuit including claims that Sharpe recorded intimate encounters without consent and shared them, as well as an incident where explicit audio was inadvertently streamed on Instagram Live. These incidents emphasizes the critical importance of consent and privacy in the digital age, especially for individuals with significant public platforms. So yes, don't think we forgot about the incident of the Instagram Live when you was saying the Miss Michelle's name on the live to prove a point then about the alleged GAY rumors that keeps floating around and around your aura. But again, Shannon, you're gonna have to do better. You're gonna have to tighten up. You as a tight end in the NFL, you need to tighten up. Tighten up that line, tighten up your that down there. You need to tighten up the thing down there. Okay. And you also need to tighten this up here. Okay. With you being a football player, yes, y'all get, injured all around and through your body, and every now and then with your head, which that can cause some after effects of being a little bit more aggressive than you're supposed to. But again, you as a pushing elder, you're like a preseason elder individual. You as a grown man need to tighten up. You need to tighten up. Forget the comments of you should have got you a black woman or a black woman of your age or whatever. Forget that. You need you as an individual, you have got to tighten up. I really hope you learn from this lesson, whether you think it is true or not, whether the public think it's true or not, whether you think it's true or not. In this instance, I hope you have all your ducks in a row, and I really hope you learn from this lesson of just because whatever is done behind closed doors and what's done in the dark, don't think it's not going to come back to light tenfold on you, especially when you have done some wrongdoing with the individuals that you aligned yourself with before, during, and after this time. I have nothing else to say other than good luck. Okay, good luck, and I hope you learned your lesson from this, because once it happens again, it's definitely a wrap for you. It may be a wrap for most cases and others regarding to sponsorships or other deals on down the line. And yes, in this day and age, yes, things can be swept under the rug and then come back out, and then swept under the rug and come back out. But a lot of people nowadays, they don't forget. And we do have the internet investigators to do their due diligence and to digging up the archives and reminding the collective of, well, he did do this and that a couple years back. So what we're going to do now. Okay. So with that being said, those are my thoughts with Shannon dropping Give Me 50 Sharpe. Again, you're going to have to tighten up, sir. Okay. Because if whoever is considering you as a role model, they are looking at you mighty different right about now. And yes, first rule of thumb, yes, you are human first, but at the same time, you shouldn't be treating folks the way you are doing things at this point. You shouldn't be doing it anyways, but you should tighten up, bro. Tighten up. But that's all that I have for you all today regarding the Shannon Sharpe. Feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you are new here, welcome. I am getting myself together, getting myself back on track with recording more and putting more content out, especially on this channel. I do have a second channel. I do have a third channel as well, but that I haven't posted anything on that yet because that's going to be more towards the deep dives, because I am a deep dive individual. Okay, and my thinking process, it can go one way and another and all around, but I guarantee you by the time you watch to the end of the video, everything will be making sense at the end. But with that being said, if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to give me a like so I can get in the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, watch the video all the way through and through, because that helps into gaining traction in the algorithm as well. I know y'all be getting tired of us saying like, share, comment, and subscribe, especially liking the video and watching to the end, but it really does help get us into the algorithm, whether you notice it or not. But I appreciate you watching if you made it this far. If you are a returning subscriber, hey, we got some catching up to do. A lot of catching up to do. But I'm glad you're here. And for everybody else, like I said, I thank you all for tuning in to the video. If you like what you see, if you like what you're hearing, again, like, share, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Hit the notification bell so you know the next time I upload a video. And always remember to be mindful, okay? Be mindful. All right. See ya.